what's happening with artists these days is that every single thing that we do, whether you're a writer, you're a musician, you're a painter, whatever it is, every single passion, it feels like it needs to be documented and it needs to be put up there and we need to be validated. So is there anything wrong with this? Like, is there anything wrong with the fact that we are always on the internet documenting every single part of our lives, even the things that we profess to care about so much, the things that we say we can't live without, like I can't live without reading, I can't live without writing. But then why can't I seem to do it on my own? Why do I need to talk about it and post about it? And is there anything wrong with this? Let's get into it. So I've seen some creators be like, do you really love this thing that you do for a living, that you do as a hobby, that you really love this thing? And if you really do, why can't you just do it without performing it, without shouting about it to the world? And so my thing is, I kind of do agree with them, but I feel like there are so many benefits to performing your work. And so first of all, let's just like remove the negative connotation from performing. If we look at like musicians, if we look at actors, they perform too, but now they're not pretending. When they're on that stage, they are performing, yes, but they're doing it after hours and hours of practice. They're doing it after so much time invested in their work. No one's ever going to be like, why do you need to perform this? Why do you need to get on stage to like show that you love this? Why can't you just do it for yourself in your own room? Like, no one's going to say that. So when you make your cute little YouTube video, or you post your threads or your tweets, or you post your Instagram posts, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. The reason why actors or musicians perform at the end of all of their hours of practice is to share that with an audience. It is to connect with an audience. It is to build an audience. So we creators, posters, YouTubers, all of us, we're doing the same thing. You are trying to build a community, you are finding your people, you are building your niche, whatever it is you're doing. It doesn't mean that you cannot do your art without an audience. It just means that an audience enhances the pleasure of your art, of your hobby, of your passion. So there's nothing wrong with it. And now I'm going to build a case for why you should perform your art. Alright, so let's get a little scientific. So basically, there's this hypothesis by Dr. William Dodson. He is a psychiatrist who specializes in ADHD, and he says that people with ADHD have an interest-based nervous system. Now, what this means is that people are usually motivated by punishment or reward. So we do something because we know that we will get something good for us at the end of it, or if we don't do it, we'll get punished. So that's why we do the thing. But for people who are neurodivergent, it makes it easier for them to do tasks when there's the sense of urgency, challenge, novelty, or interest. So that is an interest-based nervous system. That is when they tend to do tasks more, or when they can perform more efficiently, is when these four factors are covered. The same thing, even if it doesn't apply to us the way that it applies to individuals with ADHD, I think it does hold true for like the rest of us too, that if these factors are being met, it is easier for us to do things, to do tasks, or to perform hobbies. So what happens is that when we are going to put our thoughts out there, when we are going to make a video and post a video, there is the sense of like, okay, like I'm finishing this book now, and then I'm going to make a video talking about it, and then I'll move on to the next book. So that sense of novelty, like, okay, then I'll talk about that book, then I'll talk about the next book. And also the interest is inherently there because this is your passion. This is something you're interested in anyways. So you are going to be interested in talking about it and documenting it and sharing it as well. So if these factors of novelty and interest make you want to do the thing more, like there's nothing wrong with it. And the thing is that it's not strictly for the engagement. It's not even always about the likes and the comments and the shares. It's also the fact of like, you dress up, you look pretty, then you shoot the video, because you give yourself this little stage of like, okay, I'm going to talk about my interests, I'm going to talk about my passions here and post it. So that little sense of self-indulgence, that little sense of like self-importance, there's nothing wrong with it if you are giving yourself that space to talk about your passions, and you know that that's something that's novel and interesting for you. It's actually going to make you do the thing more. It's going to make you read more. It's going to make you play your instrument more. It's going to make you paint more, whatever your hobby is. And so if that makes you do it more, nothing wrong with it. Also, it's literally been proven that the anticipation of a reward, so when you anticipate that, okay, people are gonna like leave comments, people are gonna leave likes, even though that's not the best thing to look forward to, there is an anticipation of a reward. There is this anticipation of even like, okay, I'm gonna get dressed up, I'm gonna like post a video, I'm gonna talk about my thoughts, I'm gonna share them with people, maybe I'll build a community. So whether you're doing it for the engagement or whether you're doing it for like actually building a community, either way, it is the anticipation of the reward, and that also makes you feel good. That also makes you want to do the thing more. So as long as you are doing the thing, whether that's reading, writing, whatever it is. As long as you are doing your hobby, there's nothing wrong with looking forward to the engagement that you'll get on a post or a video. Obviously, there are precautions to take. You shouldn't bank on engagement so much. You shouldn't care so much about algorithms or what people will say, what people will think, because that's always like a double-edged sword. People could say good things, people could say bad things, but I think focusing more on the authenticity of your own experience, putting your original opinions out there, connecting with people in the same community, that really matters most. So try to focus more on that aspect rather than like, I need to build an audience, I'm not getting enough engagement, blah blah blah. But the point is that there's nothing wrong with this performance, there's nothing wrong with documenting this, putting this out there, because it is the anticipation of a reward, and that is going to make you do the thing more. Okay, the second reason why you should perform your art is because as we grow older, it is getting harder and harder to find a community, to build a community. So I love reading, but I have one friend in total who also likes to write, who also likes to read. And honestly, like, my other friends would get bored if I just talk to them about books, if I just yapped about books. So for me, this space online that I'm trying to create, where I also talk about art, creativity, I'm also going to talk about neurodivergence, PPD, ADHD, all of these things that I'm interested in. For me, it's also a place to find people like me, which I cannot find offline, which is getting harder and harder for us to find offline because we're out of school, we're out of college, we're out of like those places where it's easy to find people. So finding them online is kind of the only solution left. Thirdly, and this is very important, so when we talk about learning, when we talk about knowledge, when we talk about growth, there's all of this input that we receive. We are so interested in like reading newsletters and listening to podcasts and watching all these YouTube videos, and we're constantly consuming and inputting. But then what do we do with that information? How often are you having like conversations with other people about what your opinions are on the things that you consume? What do you think about what you consume? For instance, reading is a hobby of mine, and I'll also like bookmark and annotate, and I'll put book tabs, and I will be really invested in the book that I'm reading at the moment. But as soon as I finish the book and I close the book, that's it. I will just forget about it. So then what's the point of that? And this is true for like fiction, non-fiction, all of it. Even if you're like a musician or a painter or whatever, there is always a great benefit in doing the thing, playing the piece of music, and then putting it out there. See what other people say. And you will also realize how much you have learned in that process. So there's a great benefit to putting your thoughts out there. And then when we talk about like reading specifically as a hobby, it's literally like information heavy. There's a lot of mental activity in that, and there are literally words being communicated to you. So when you ingest that, what do you do with it? You need to put it out there. So what are your opinions? What do you think about what you've read? You agree with it? You disagree? Why? Critique it. Like, put your thoughts out there. And what happens is that then the cycle doesn't stop at you. You add to it, which is what I feel like all authors would want. You add to it, you put your thoughts out there, whether you agree or disagree, but you put your thoughts, and then someone leaves a comment, someone says something else, which adds to your opinion, which informs you. And so then the cycle keeps on going, and which is a very good thing. So that's another reason why you should like put your thoughts out there. So now let's talk about the downfalls. Basically, there are only two, the way that I see it. Firstly, I feel like the reason why I think people look down on performing, or like, oh, why can't you do your hobby without like talking about it and putting it out there and performing it, is because there is a certain level of self-importance attached to this process of documentation and performance. So what happens is we put our thoughts out there, and we then take ourselves too seriously. So then we expect everyone to agree with us, but that's not always going to happen. People will say negative things, or people will give you like constructive criticism. People will not agree with you always. And so it's important to not take yourself too seriously, not take your opinions too seriously. Just have that much of an open mind that people will say things that are different to your way of thinking. And so then that's one way to beat the taking yourself too seriously type thing. So just like be open to that. Obviously the block option exists for a reason. So if there's too much negativity, if there's like the intensity of negative feedback is too much, you can always just block and reject what you think doesn't seem right to you. And then the second thing is, okay, so this is really important. We think that everything we do needs to become a project, and that like we already have work and we have responsibilities and we have the act of like the hobby itself, the actual reading, playing an instrument, whatever. And then we think that we now need to build an audience, and we now need to like get a lot of engagement, and those things do not help. So just as important as it is for you to do the thing that you love, whether it's reading or whatever, it's also important for you to do the posting and documenting and talking about it, putting it out there into the world. That also needs to be done for you. So both those things, both the hobby itself And also talking about it, sharing it, posting it, that also needs to be done for you. So don't make it into a project. Don't be like, okay, I have to post 4 times a week, get this much engagement. This is something that you're doing for yourself. So don't put a rigid schedule around it. Like, I started Reflect, I think I posted 2 videos, then I shifted to like Threads and Blue Sky, and I've been posting short form, and then today I felt like making another video, so I made a video and now I'm putting it out. So not every passion needs to be a project. Just think about it as, this is my output, this is something I'm doing to think about what I have consumed, to think about what I have painted or played an instrument, whatever. So just think about it as like, okay, this is the output of my hobby. I did the reading, I played the instrument, and now is my time, the space for me, the time for me to reflect on it and think about it. I want to talk about it, I'm doing it for me. I want to think about it, I want to see what I know and what I feel, what I think about this space. And so I'm going to talk about it. I want to see what other people think. I want to build a community. I want to grow and learn from other people's opinions. And lastly, there's the thing that genuinely, like, those people are right. Not everything needs to be documented, not everything needs to be shared. If you are doing something only to talk about it and share it, and you don't have any interest in it whatsoever, then don't do that thing. But if you do have some level of interest in it, but you just get bored with it, then share it, then talk about it. Because let's not romanticize hobbies or passions, because these things are not always interesting. They're not, like, we have an inherent level of interest in them, we do love them, but it does get boring. Writing is so hard. The physical labor of like playing drums or keyboard or whatever, it is hard, it's difficult. These are solitary activities. So, but they don't need to be solitary. Storytelling used to be like poetry, prose, everything we read today. These all have their roots in oral storytelling traditions. People used to tell stories, and like in a community and in a group, they used to like share these with each other. So the whole point is to build a community. And I'm not gonna pretend like today the internet is what it used to be, because back then it actually used to be about caring about what other people thought about. Now it's just algorithms and all of this. But there is still community to be built. There are still people to be found. There is still growth to be had from like talking and communicating and learning from other people's opinions and experiences. So don't give up on that either. Lastly, just enjoy what you do. But when it gets boring, or when you feel like everything's just building up and accumulating in your head and you need to get it out, you need to talk about it, document it, talk about it, put your opinions out there. They are valid, and put them out there. Find your people. All right, I have yapped so much. I'm gonna go now, drink some chai. Have a good day wherever you are, whichever part of the world you're in. Have a good day, night, evening, afternoon, morning, dawn, whatever. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye.